I've been doing this for a long time. I covered games, of course, as a reporter for 8, 9 years. And still, after all these years, as a fan, as a former reporter, as a gambler, there are still games that afterwards I think about them and I wonder, what are these coaches thinking about? Case in point, both of yesterday's wild card games. First of all, the game with the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. There were the Saints. Their lead was tenuous, to say the least. And the Saints, late in the contest, about 3 minutes ago, they're facing that 3rd and 2 situation, midfield. And you know, if they get that first down, that game is over. Because if they're going to rely on their defense, which has played great all day long, after the way Carolina has been moving the ball in the second half, you have to wonder, do you want to put your defense in that position to come up with one more stop? Now, the Saints have been unable to run the ball all day long. It's 3rd and 2. You got Drew Brees back there. But how predictable was Sean Payton? You call for another run, and Alvin Kamara is just stopped dead in his tracks. Carolina doesn't even give him an inch. And of course, the Saints punt. Carolina moves down the field, and you saw how the game ended. Thankfully for New Orleans fans, it ended well. For New Orleans backers, it didn't end well because Carolina easily stayed there within the back door. But Carolina was able to put itself in the position to win that game because they were on offense, because the Saints, rather than let Drew Brees, a guy who has played well all day, a guy who's playing at home, has so many options available, a short little dump pass to one of his backs coming out of the backfield, the possibility of just put the ball in Drew Brees' hands, a little sideline screen. You're talking about 1.5 yards on 3rd and 2. Instead, because coaches just would rather, when faced with the opportunity, just hand the ball off and do something very predictable, which hasn't worked all day, doesn't make any sense. Then you look at the Jacksonville game. Now listen, I used Jacksonville yesterday as a 15-9 best bet. I think everybody and their brother used Jacksonville as a best bet yesterday because everybody and the brother knew that the Buffalo Bills, as I pointed out in my analysis yesterday, had one of the worst run defenses in all of the league. But you knew coming into that game, the Bills were going to sell out to stop the run, which they did. They stacked the box. They were going to sell out to stop the run because Jacksonville had such a good ground game, because they were going to force Blake Bortles to beat them. And Bortles was coming off the 2 back-to-back lousy road games against San Francisco and Tennessee. And so I put it out by analysis. I wasn't surprised he struggled in those back-to-back road games, because if you looked at his home road splits, this is a guy who played much better at home in his comfortable surroundings than he did on the road. So I was counting on Bortles to have a rebound performance playing at home. Boy, was I wrong about that one. But at the same time, you saw Jacksonville, their offensive coordinator, unable, just unwilling, unable, I'm not sure what the case was, but simply unable to change things up, unable to adjust midstream, because you didn't have to be Tony Romo there in the booth telling you and I that Bortles, clearly his confidence was shaken. But finally, in the second half, on that one long 9-minute touchdown drive, you saw Jacksonville start to move the ball. Part of it was because Bortles was taking it upon himself to run it. But finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars called one play I thought that was brilliant. A toss sweep to Leonard Fournette. Because all day long, the Bills were pinching the corners. They were stacking the box. And there was absolutely no running room. Because how many times, if you bet Jacksonville yesterday, you're sitting there like me, why are we running the ball up the middle? Because there's no room. There's no room when you're stacking the box. Toss sweep. Leonard Fournette goes to the left side, picks up 9-10 yards. And I'm thinking to myself, Leonard Fournette's probably saying to himself, hey, guys, we did this about 15 to 18 times a game when I was at LSU, and it worked pretty damn well. Last time they ran that play in the game. I don't get it. I don't get it. So it was a miserable day, and it was an interesting weekend because, as I set the table for you both on Saturday and Sunday, the favorites, 4-0 last year in the wild card round, each one of them winning by at least 13 points. And, of course, this year the underdogs won a perfect 4-0. There you have it. Everything is cyclical when it comes to gambling. So it was a miserable day yesterday, as I can't really tell you any of the handicappers won, and that's how it goes in gambling sometime. But today is another day. And of course, the featured play today, I had to go with Jeff Benton because the guy is a perfect 5-0 with his college football major wagers this season, including a 4-0 sweep. 4-0 sweep with his College Bowl releases, 3 for 3 with the 109 plays, and then last Monday had 159 play with Georgia over Oklahoma. So when I saw that he had another 159 play tonight on the big game, I thought that I would go with him naturally for Georgia, Alabama, and you get it for over half price off by using coupon code Bowl, BOWL. I will tell you that Shawn Michaels has his fifth 109 max wager release of the season on the opposite side of the game tonight. All your other discounts and coupons, etc., are over on the homepage. Now, in terms of the game, I obviously have a play on the side selection. I think that the total is very fairly priced here. In this contest here tonight, you've got an over-under. Let me just get you the absolute latest line. You're sitting right at around 45 and a half points. I've got to lean toward the under in this game. Now, I don't think it's an obvious play, however, because I think there's two ways to look at it. You saw Georgia at times this year being able to put up points against some good defenses and struggle against others. So I think that you certainly have the potential to possibly go over in this contest. But you've got an Alabama defense, of course, that was just so dominant last week against Clemson. And, I saw Lane Kiffin in a story with ESPN say that it wasn't so much that the Clemson offense struggled last week against Alabama. It was more or less that the Alabama defense was just so dominant that it didn't allow Clemson to do anything offensively. And listen, I like Clemson coming into that game because I thought Clemson would be able to run the ball effectively and that Kelly Bryant would be able to get something doing offensively. Absolutely nothing. They sacked them 5 times. They continually put such pressure that pocket collapsed on him. And you saw that basically the minute he took the handoff, there were 2 Alabama players there greeting him. Here's the ball. Hey, here we are too. Now, do I think that Georgia will be able to move the ball a little more effectively tonight? Yes, I do. But I just don't see this game turning into an offensive slugfest. I think that because of the nature of this being a championship game, I think you're going to see 2 offenses kind of feeling each other out, no different than a championship boxing match in the first quarter here tonight. So I think that's going to suppress the scoring a little bit. I think you're going to see both teams try to establish the run, and why would they not want to? I don't think that you're going to see either team take shots trying to stretch the field early in the contest. So I think the first half particularly is going to be more low scoring. And I think you're going to see both teams try to set the tone defensively. Alabama, of course, with that dominant defensive line, one that only allowed, I think, 92 yards a game, 2.7 yards rushing. I think Georgia, of course, has an advantage defensively with their overall team speed, and especially at the linebacker position. The Alabama ground game is not nearly as strong naturally as Georgia. However, they can move the chains on the ground. Listen, against that Clemson defense, that Alabama offense did a great job. The offensive line afforded Jalen Hurts great protection. Clemson came into that game, 44 sacks, leading the college football Division I stats. They only gave up 2 sacks in that game. Alabama's offensive line did. They moved the chains repeatedly. Jalen Hurts had a very efficient night. And this is a guy who had 1 interception this year because of his legs. He's allowed himself to evade tacklers. He's shown some coolness in the pocket that he didn't have last year because of his inexperience. So I think this could be a game decided with a series of punts. And I just think that this is going to be a game where points are going to be a premium. Again, I come back to that point spread, 45 and a half. Because the way I look at this game, I think it's a 2017 game. I think it could be a 24-21 game. And again, you're looking right there at 45 and a half. So again, if I had to play the total, I'm looking at the under as the way to go in this contest. So that's the way I would play it. I wish you well, guys, and talk again tomorrow when can't wait for college basketball to be back around because college basketball is where I've been making my money here of late. Wish you well. Enjoy watching the game tonight, and hopefully we won't be seeing more bonehead college football coaching moves like we've seen in the wild card round this weekend. Good luck, guys.